Ed Brusson, pastor of the Table Church here in San Benito. This is another conversation at the table. It is Friday. Are you ready for the weekend? And how busy are you? Hard to believe we're within 2 weeks of Christmas. And so far, it's been, well, at least for me, it's been very, very enjoyable. We had a great Blue Christmas service. I always like the Christmas season. Again, it is my favorite time of year, but had a great Blue Christmas here. And we've had some great Advent services already. We're going to have another great one on Sunday. Haven't been to a Christmas party yet. I suppose some of you already have. In fact, I know some of you have. You've told me about it. But this is the time for the parties and the decorations, and I hope you're enjoying the season. I know it's busy for most of us, but I hope you're able to enjoy some of it. And I hope there are these brief moments, kind of like Blue Christmas and even our Advent services here, where we just take a time and we stop for about an hour or so out of the busyness to think about the real meaning of the season and the meaning of life and who gives us that meaning of life. One of the things we do, I'm sure you do it, I haven't done this yet, but we do it at the Brusson household. In fact, we've been meaning to do it and we just haven't had the chance yet. Christmas movies. So if there's a Christmas movie that you watch all the time, every year, what would it be? I know we tend to watch Elf. I think they've got that memorized. Christmas Vacation's another one. The Santa Claus is one. Christmas with the Crocs, that's one of my favorites. Anyway, there's all these movies. One of the interesting things about these Christmas movies that I've noticed over the years, though, is that some of these movies, at some point, especially the movies are about Santa Claus, at some point in the movie, Santa ends up in jail. I suppose the most famous Christmas movie of all time outside of It's a Wonderful Life is Miracle on 34th Street, and Santa ends up in jail because they don't believe him. Tim Allen and the Santa Claus ends up in jail because people just can't make sense of why Scott Calvin is acting the way he is. And then Kurt Russell ends up in jail. That's got to be the most memorable one for me, where he ends up in jail, and before you know it, full band, he's got a choir. It's a great, great scene. And Santa ends up in jail in one of the first ones I ever saw. Santa Claus is coming to town. But every one of these Santa is in jail. We all know, because we're watching the movie, we all know that Santa, he's innocent of whatever they're claiming is going on with him. We know he's not supposed to be in jail. We're thinking, this is ridiculous. Why would you do this? And again, it's all part of the movie, and people trying to figure out and work their way through the whole idea of Santa and what it means. But at the end of the day, the good guy is in jail. The good guy's in jail. Now, Advent, as we come toward Christmas Day, the Advent season, Advent is allowing us to be honest with where we're at. See, Advent is life in the already not yet, where Jesus has already provided salvation for us. He's already accomplished everything for us, but we still live in the mess. One of the realities of that mess is our sin. See, the reality is Advent flips that scene for us. Advent tells us the good guy's not in jail, you are. You're the one in jail. You're in prison. And if we're honest, if we look in the mirror, that's exactly right. Advent's reminding us, in spite of the lights, in spite of the music, in spite of it being the most wonderful time of the year, right? We're in prison. You know, we don't have freedom. Some of us are chained up by the things that we've done. Some of us are in chains because of stuff that's been done to us. Some of it's pride, some of it's shame, some of it's fear, some of it's control. And some of it, lies we rehearse in our heads. You're never going to change. It's never going to get better. And we're imprisoned by the habits that we've told ourselves that we're going to get rid of. We've sworn them off every other week. Whether it's something we've done or something that's been done to us, We're not watching a movie jail scene. We're living in it. We're the ones in prison, and we need rescue. Now, throughout this Advent season, we have been making our way through the 1517 Advent devotional, 26 devotions. It has been absolutely great. We were 2 weeks into this, and these have been great devotionals, just very short. In fact, most of you could read this in 2 or 3 minutes, most of the devotionals in here. But it's always good for us to have this in front of us. These types of thoughts, the things that I'm trying to fix my mic here because it wants to go somewhere else. 1517 and Advent are reminding us that somebody else is helping us. Somebody else has to come to our rescue. The deeper truth isn't that the good guys are in jail, the bad guys are, and then we are in need of rescue. And 1517 allows us to think about that and talk about that. So today's thing was anointed to unlock cells. Isaiah 61, that is talking about prisoners. Listen to this. This is what Isaiah 61 says. The Spirit of the Lord God is on me because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and freedom to the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of our God's vengeance, to comfort all who mourn, to provide for those who mourn in Zion, to give them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, festive oil instead of mourning, and splendid clothes instead of despair. That's Isaiah 61 talking about this servant king, this warrior king, the divine warrior who is coming. This person is coming to Israel, and he's coming to provide rescue. Good news to the poor, heal the brokenhearted, proclaim liberty to the captives. Now, none of that is advice. It's all rescue language. It's chain-breaking language. And Advent's a season where we feel the darkness. We feel the ache of being in captivity. We long for freedom. We come to Isaiah 61, and all of a sudden Isaiah is declaring freedom. I wonder, how does that happen? I want to know how it happens. Centuries later, this is where the story really gets good. This is where Advent gets personal, actually. Centuries later, Jesus is in a synagogue in his hometown of Nazareth. He's in a synagogue. This is read. Isaiah 61 is read. He reads it, and then he shocks everybody by saying, "Today, as you listen, the scripture has been fulfilled." The audience is shocked. They're stunned. It's his hometown. They're not ready to receive it. We find that out later. They're not ready to hear this. In fact, they're kind of recoiling at that idea. But Jesus says, you want freedom? That's me. It's a staggering claim. But Jesus is saying this. Everything that Isaiah is talking about in Isaiah 61, that's me. And I'm not just bringing freedom, I am freedom. The waiting for a liberator is over. I'm here to preach good news to the oppressed, the ones who are crushed by systems and powers. I'm here to bind up the brokenhearted, the ones who've been shattered by loss and betrayal. I'm here to free the captives and the prisoners, whether it's a literal prison. We've seen that over history where that's actually happened because of the good news of Jesus, or the invisible prisons that we all have, like addiction and shame. Even the way we think. We have our prisons. He's here to rescue us, and he does. And what Jesus is saying, if we're really listening, I'm not just announcing freedom, I am the freedom. I'm here to rescue. And the chains that Jesus unlocks are ultimately chains of our own doing. We've been listening to the wrong voices. And they're chains that are brought on by the law telling us that we're not enough. He's proclaiming the year of the Lord's favor. It's all grace. And he's bringing forgiveness. And you see, when Jesus declares freedom, here's the other thing. He's not saying it's just possible. The word that he's proclaiming is the freedom. He is creating freedom as he speaks it. He does that through his word. And so we get freedom as he speaks. And what the irony is, we know this because we know the rest of the story. We have freedom because he picks the lock of our prison and then As we leave the prison cell, he walks in. He becomes the guilty party on our behalf, and he dies. So we get freedom. He doesn't just walk into our cell. He goes all the way to cross, and that's where he purchases our freedom with his death. You see, Jesus is freeing us, whether it's our past, whether it's our present, all the stuff that keeps us locked up. He declares us to be free because of what he's done. You see, he doesn't come and proclaim a bit of good encouragement. And man, if you pick up social media and look at social media and the stuff that Jesus is supposedly saying, it's a word of encouragement, it's a spiritual compliment. Hey, you have this. We know we don't. The only person that has this, whatever this is, whatever you're going through, is Jesus. We know full well we're not capable of breaking our own chains. In fact, he doesn't even promise, hey, I'm going to make it possible for you to break the chains. No, he is saying, I am your freedom. I am your chain breaker. So I don't know what your prison is today. I don't know what your darkness is. I do know it's Advent. And I do know that baby in the manger, those manger scenes that we see all over town, in our homes, even at Walmart, that manger scene is bringing light to your darkness. He came down to earth to free you from your prison. And you know why? And here's the thing. He did this because he absolutely, unstoppably, and unconditionally loves you. That's why he did that. That's why he does it. Not because you finally got it right. Not because you're being a good boy or girl and you're making sure that you follow all the rules that he's given you in the Bible. No. He loved you first. He walks into your Advent and says, I love you. Unconditionally, absolutely, unstoppably. That's your freedom. That's your freedom. Grab hold of that. Don't let go of that. No matter what your prison is, no matter what your darkness is. You start to believe that, and you'll start to feel the chains releasing their grip. Because that's how he does it. He does it in his word. He does it with his promise. He does it with his sacrament. He does it for you because he absolutely, unstoppably, and unconditionally loves you. That's our conversation at the table. We have a worship service at 10:30 right here at the Table Church. That's where I happen to be right now. Table Church, 1000 North Crockett here in San Benito. And every week at 10:30, we talk about Jesus. We talk about the Jesus who has come to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor, the one who is proclaiming freedom and giving freedom as he speaks to you. So be here at 10:30 this Sunday, or be someplace where you know you're going to hear the good news of Jesus. You see, Advent's all about Jesus showing up for you. It's not about you cleaning up your mess. It's about Jesus showing up for you and giving you his freedom, his forgiveness, and his love. So until next time, take a breath. Be comforted. You're free. You are free because you're loved. Jesus always, always has you.